Hi, this is debhelfrich, hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. And this is another version of my origin story. What does hashtag redheaded She-Hulk mean? Well, it's my stand-up persona. The title of my first one-woman improv show, a streaming Netflix original. I'm working on it. Yes, I am. But what am I like? Well, in the parlance of pitching a movie, I'm Dave Chappelle's soulmate, crossed, dressed with Eddie Izzard. I can solve your tranny problem, Dave Chappelle. Of course, I know Dave doesn't actually have a tranny problem. But the perception, because he just picked the people who put on different clothes to talk about. Because Dave Chappelle loves all humanity just as much as Eddie Izzard, who's got the hashtag Make Humanity Great Again. This is who I am. That sort of personality. Now, I can make people laugh. What I am really about, not so much laughter as light bulbs. I'm a stand-up philosopher. That's right. I am a degreed philosopher from Carnegie Mellon University, who was a software consultant for 2 decades. Then, every superhero interacts with, something radioactive, some sort of insect. Well, in my case, it was a microorganism, mold, fungus. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I moved into a moldy apartment. The brain dysfunction. It's not brain fog in my case. It's a brain blizzard whiteout. My brain doesn't function. My brain needs to hibernate, or it comes on like this. And what we're basically saying is something is not functioning well in my left hemisphere, in this prefrontal cortex. But my right, like a stroke victim, is rewiring, and my right brain, my creative physicalness, is coming to the rescue to save my life. I want to stand on a stage and promote racial harmony. What happens after anti-racism? In anti-racism, while it was a great response to I'm not racism, anti-racism is not the concept that unites humanity. Racial harmony is the concept that we're all needing to strive for. Now, many people still need to sit here. There's many racists. There's a nice contingent of anti-racists. I'm the giraffe with the long neck, looking forward, seeing the horizon, just because it's just how I'm built. This is true. The fable of my life can be summed up in spending the first 49 years as a polar bear. Quite literally, my dog is an Arctic fox. I was large, pale, a dominant, aggressive, do not mess with me. I was a Michelin woman-sized human who got up to 333 pounds. Somehow, some way, in trying to solve the mold dysfunction, I woke up in the days after turning 50 and shouted, I'm gonna learn what it feels like to live in a lean body. Franz Kafka? Guess what? And actually, by the way, that flub, this is part of, I literally, when I'm talking about my brain turned off, I couldn't walk or talk for a good part of the previous 5 years of my life. I'd really gotten to the point where I was ready to go, I've solved this and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna figure out how to earn a living. March is the month of my birthday. So I had 1 year of from turning 50, and then as I was turning 51, I'm like, this is gonna be it. And y'all shut the motherfucking world down. I've been isolated, alone, a hermit, living in a polar bear. I'm like alone as an apex predator. My ecosystem is just me and my dog. So polar bear-like. And Franz Kafka is giving me a standing O. Because forget about cockroaches. My midlife metamorphosis is from becoming, is in being a polar bear and now becoming a giraffe for the next 50 years of my life. Oh, yes, I am. And both of these mammals are literally, physically something I can embody. Don't think I'm a giraffe? What are freckles? Freckles are the patterns of giraffes. They're both melanin. All life, almost all life, spiders, some insects, they might not have the colorfulness, but all mammals, birds, melanin is a superpower. This is the hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. This is my origin story. I am seeking an executive producer and a seed investment, absolutely stat. Somebody's going to emerge as the performer, able to address our civilizational chaos. And I am it. You want anti-racism? You want racial harmony? Let's talk about melanin. Let's talk about the fact that global warming will only get solved once we all hit racial harmony. How are we going to fix our problem with the sun when we don't know what skin means? How are we going to fight coronavirus if we're not united as one species? That's what it takes to stop Homo sapiens from self-extincting. I say 30 years. Eddie Izzard's giving us the rest of the decade, 80 years. Somewhere between 30 and 80 years, you have two robustly integrative, intelligent humans going, this is, we're in a period where the adults in this world must stand out for love. We must understand that everyone who's acting poorly is in fear. And what all of the fear across the whole globe comes down to is our economic system. It's the fact that we have not created a system where every human born has their basic needs met and is guaranteed a livable wage for meaningful work. We're in the point of digitization, and that is the tipping point. We can now just make money a concept. It's not based on scarcity anymore. We're now in the digital realm. There are no physical limitations to how we can finance a universal basic income, UBI. We can just start doing it. I got the philosophical skills. I was a payroll software consultant. I pleased the IRS as a client for 20 years. I know the numbers, but the numbers don't add up. That's why I'm also the founder of hashtag Wellbeing Philosophy. The tip of my iceberg is the stand-up redheaded She-Hulk. You're also investing in the future 40 years of my life as the founder of the Wellbeing Philosophy Institute to make clear, anti-racist, life-centric thinking about human potential a necessary global public good. I am an investor's wet dream. And yet, not a single person seems to notice me. Because you know what melanin and pattern melanin in the freckles with the pale skin is all about? It's about reflecting light and being invisible. The red hair and the freckles represents 2% of the global population. But it didn't just become an adaptation of our species once we got up into, once we went to the UK, Scandinavia, once we figured out how to go and live higher than France. These qualities were early adaptations before any human, ever left the continent of Africa. Red hair and freckles had old soul. This is the evolutionary logic definition of being an old soul. How can I assure you that red hair and freckles happened before all that migration? There are redheads in Papua New Guinea. And how did people get to Papua New Guinea? Africans went on rowabout. That is debhelfrich. Gmail me, one word, debhelfrich@gmail. Whoever invests in me, abundance incarnate is my promise. And I'm not so much about the dollars, about the gold, about the bling. I'm about the preciousness of human life force. I'm about enabling art, culture, enabling the thinking power of humans to align on the basic qualities of being human, unite us as one globe, one species. If you don't think somebody who's always caring about 7.8 billion people is the best investment, your brain is not operating anywhere near its full capacity. What I'm about is not selling anything except the power of human thinking equipment as a philosopher. Why I will succeed, guaranteed, is that I'm dead broke and about to become homeless because the 45th administration abandoned its citizens financially and public health wise and morality wise, in every way. This is the sort of midlife metamorphosis that does become known. And more so than you can possibly imagine, I'm only staying alive because of one thing. Africa has my back. And I've got Africa's back. Oh, I can go on and on and on. I can improv like this anywhere, anytime, any place, in the middle of a conversation. I got this. I was born to be the 2020s. She Socrates, but I'm also the she Sherlock of human health. Because again, I lost 150 pounds in the 15 months after turning 50. I am quite literally physically morphing from a polar bear to a giraffe. Who's not going to want to figure out what's going on with me as soon as people can start transducing my complexity? All right. It's been debhelfrich, trying to keep this full of the brevity that social media demands. It's our attention span, y'all. If you want to know what is really the disease of the pandemic, it's time poverty. And the reason, Y2K, very little effect. But we're going to have an app-apocalypse very soon. There's simply not unlimited human potential for attention. There's unlimited human potential for creativity, for expressing our truth. And to do that, what the internet has done, 5-second attention span, or 3 to 5 second attention span. Forget whatever seconds you think we had. The pandemic has reduced your attention span dramatically, unless you completely get off of any screen. So help me be the person to use my screen time to save humanity from self-extincting. Harsh as that statement might be, I know the solutions. Philosophically, I know what questions to ask for the rest of humanity to go solve with answers. You see, this is my killer app. I'm questioning, and I'm offering a framework of completely off-the-cuff creative ideas on how to solve the questions once we get clear on the questions. That is what I've termed life-centric thinking, which is the mission of the Wellbeing Philosophy Institute. And since nobody has any time to sit in philosophy lectures, we're going to start and build the audience by being hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. The cross between Dave Chappelle and Eddie Izzard. Call me the next Hannah Gadsby. Of a hyper energy. Oh, and I can do the art history bits, girl. Let me tell you how Andy Warhol points to racial harmony. Andy Warhol and Bernie Mac always come up together in the lexicon of hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. Everything is always about loving the darkest, most melanated humans on our planet. I mean, I could go on, but I'm feeling the pressure to keep this brief. Harmony, y'all.